Right, folks, so we're ready to go. That's it. So I'm not letting anybody else in. The reason why we can't let anybody else in is because, like I explained the last time, if you're just new to the group, if for example, there's a couple of people just came in there about an hour ago. If you come in an hour ago, you can only see in WhatsApp the post from then forward. You can't see anything backwards, so it means I have to just keep reposting the same stuff if more people come in. So you'll see, for those people, I've reposted the welcome video. That's the last time I'm going to post that up, so you'll not see that again. So all the information now is going to come just once, otherwise it gets a bit monotonous and a bit boring for you. It's alright for me. I just record the videos and just post them back up again, but you have to watch the same thing over again. So that's us now closed for the 5 days. After this 5 days, we'll allow more people in for next month. So again, for those who are new, welcome. For those who've done it before, I just actually look back here. The first challenge we done was actually on the 5th of June. Alright, so we've been doing this now pretty much nearly a year. Well done for the people who've been doing it the whole time. Now, for everybody, we're going to just take this as if you're all new for the first time. We'll take everything just fresh, right? So remember the 5-day challenge. Now, although I'm saying we're going to do it fresh, there will be 2 starting groups. There will be the people who are brand new and the people who are doing it for the first time. It does make a difference, all right? So the people who are brand new, we're going to start off with a longer eating window. The people who are been doing this before, we're going to start off a shorter eating window. We'll all end up together at the end of it, but just so you're basically allowing your body to acclimatise it a wee bit better, so it's not such a drastic shock to the system. So basically it's about your insulin. We don't want your insulin going over the place and going hypoglycemic. We want to sort of give you a wee bit of a acclimatization under your fasting, 5-day fasting challenge. So the things that you're going to need, I've posted them up. You need your whey protein. The whey protein is very important. So when we're talking about whey protein, there's reasons why we're using it. The beef protein doesn't work as well. It does work from a protein point of view, but not the reasons really why we're using the protein shake where we're going to use it. For the new people, your fasting window on Monday, or your eating window if you want, will be from 2 until 8. So you're going to fast from Monday night at 8 o'clock until 2 on Monday morning. Fasting means no food coming in at all. We're then going to have an eating window from 2 until 8, which is a 6-hour eating window. Now, every day, half hour before your first meal, so for example, if your first meal starts at 2 o'clock, half hour before that, you're going to have 2 scoops of whey protein. Alright, 2 scoops of whey protein in water, half an hour before your first meal. There's a reason for this. One is to make sure that we're hitting an adequate amount of protein per day, because one of the big issues we have with any diet, but specifically something as intense as fasting, is we can burn a lot of muscle tissue. If you burn muscle tissue, your metabolism slows down and it's game over. So we want to make sure that we're not burning too much muscle tissue during the fast, so we make sure our protein is on point. All right, it's really important that we do that. The other reason why we use the whey protein is the whey protein is quite heavy in your stomach, and it lines your stomach. It makes you feel full up. Protein gives you good satiety, makes you feel full, which means because you've been fasting all day and then you start to eat something, it's very common they just want to gorge. You've been fasting for like 18 hours, 16 hours, all of a sudden you start eating, and sometimes it's very common, I have it, when I start eating, I just want to keep eating and I can't stop. So the whey protein 2 hours before, it just curves that, so you eat something and you feel full very quick. It means it just stops that overeating. Because remember, although we're doing fasting, from a weight loss point of view, from a body fat burning point of view, the reason why fasting works for burning fat is because it creates a caloric deficit. That's all, guys. There's nothing magic about it from a body fat burning point of view. Nothing. It's just a way to restrict calories. Alright, so don't think there's anything magic about fasting from a fat burning point of view. There is from a hormonal point of view, and we'll get into that during the week when it comes down to like things like insulin and where we're burning fat from and all that kind of stuff, insulin resistance. But from a weight loss, from a body fat burning point of view, it's creating a caloric deficit. Now let's say we're fasting for even 20 hours and you're eating for 4. If you overeat in those 4 hours, you're going to get fucking fat, right? You've just done away with the whole fasting time. So the reason why we fast is to create a shorter eating window, a shorter opportunity for calories to come in. So it's much harder to overeat. Well, it's supposed to be, as we've experienced, there's some of you can actually overeat in 2 hours. So that's why we have the whey protein, right? It helps just to fill the stomach up. Now, some people, we're not supposed, it's not really the point, but some people count the calories during the eating window to make sure they don't pass the calories. The whole point of fasting, ladies, is that we don't count calories, right? Remember, Fat burning comes from a caloric deficit. Again, we'll get into this a wee bit deeper during the week. If we restrict calories, we burn fat because we use the deficit, the energy deficit, we take from our fat reserves. The larger the deficit, the more we tap on that fat reserve, as long as your metabolism allows it. That's why we only do 5 days. We can do extreme fat burning for 5 days before the metabolic rate goes, you know what, you're burning too much fat and I'm going to shut down. So we take advantage of it. That's all we're doing. So we're shortening the amount of calories that's coming in by condensing our eating window. All right. Now again, like I said, there's other hormonal things going on here. We do the insulin and all that kind of stuff. We're trying to use those hormones to maximize the fat burning, but it's still to do with calories. Remember, we have 3 ways that we can restrict calories. 1, we can count calories. I'm going to have 1,600 calories every day. I'm going to count them. I'm not going to pass anymore. There, I've created a caloric deficit by counting, physically counting, putting on an app what I've eaten. The next way we can create a caloric deficit is dietary restriction. I'm going to stop eating carbohydrates. I'm not going to count my calories, but I'm just not going to eat any carbohydrates. This is a keto diet. Remember, carbohydrates usually make up about 60% of your plate, or your portion, right? For some people, even more. So if I take that away, I'm reducing calories because I'm just taking away most of the stuff that I usually eat. Again, there's nothing magic about keto. It's just a form of restricting calories without actually having to physically count them. Now again, some people overeat in keto and get fat. So it's not about what the keto is, it's about the fact that you're removing the dietary source that was usually the most abundant in your diet, carbohydrates. The next way we can do it is we can do time restriction. So we have calorie restriction where we count them, we have dietary restriction where we remove a dietary source, for example carbohydrates, and then we have time restriction where we restrict the time in which we're eating. So if I'm only eating for 4 hours, I can only consume so many calories. Does that make sense? That's how it works from a calorie restrictive point of view. Now, if you were really, really hardcore, you could do all 3. I'm going to count the calories to make sure I don't pass 500, right? That's just a very arbitrary number I've chosen there. I'm not going to have any carbohydrates. I'm going to do time restrictive eating. So we bit much, it's not necessary, it's not going to do anymore, because if it's 500 calories, it's 500 calories whether there's carbs there or not. But that's the whole premise. So we're using intermittent fasting as a tool to burn as much body fat as possible. Does that make sense? That's all it is. That's all it is. Calorie restriction. So we don't want to overeat during that eating window. That's why the whey protein fills the belly and makes you feel fuller for longer. And also, because we've restricted the time in which we're eating, we've also restricted the amount of protein we can bring in. So 2 scoops of protein is giving you about 45 grams of protein. Remember, a woman should be consuming about 100 grams of protein per day. That means in the rest of the meals that you're eating, if it's 3, 2 or 1, depending on how far into the week we go, your objective is to try and hit the rest of those protein requirements in those other meals, even if it's just 1. So you have your 45 grams protein shake, and then you have 1 big meal with about 50 grams of protein. Does that make sense? You've now had 100 grams. So that's what we're trying to figure. That's what we're trying to do here. The protein is really important to make sure we maintain the muscle mass. That's the key to losing weight and keeping it off. All right, again, we'll get into this during the week. So get your whey protein. Now, one of the biggest problems, one of the biggest things that people struggle with when they're intermittent fasting is things like tiredness, headaches, and hunger. Right? The feeling of hunger. Not real hunger, but the feeling of hunger. This is not actually hunger, this is dehydration. So we use what we call a hydration formula. I changed hydration formula with my own wee concoction, where we get a wee glass of water. Now listen to this carefully, because we always get this wrong. A wee glass of water, 1 cap full of apple cider vinegar, one cap full, right, and a squeeze of a half a lemon. We mix it up, we add in 3 grains of Himalayan salt, and we knock that back. The reason why we're doing this, the Himalayan salt will keep you hydrated. That feeling of hunger is actually a hormone called ghrelin, and ghrelin triggers in your stomach when your body needs something, not necessarily food, but if you're lacking in minerals, for example sodium and potassium, the body will release ghrelin because it knows if I go and eat something, then I'll probably get these minerals. So it's lack of minerals, lack of electrolytes that's making you feel hungry, not lack of food. Remember, food is just energy, it's just calories. So is body fat. Body fat is basically food that you overate, that you stored to get later. So it's calories. So as long as there's fat in your body, you're not hungry, you're not deprived of food, because the reason why you stored it here was to get it later. Guess what? This is now later. So you're not hungry, it's a notion in your head. It's habitual, it's time, your circadian rhythm, it triggers it with your hormones like insulin and ghrelin. But ghrelin that you're going to feel is due to dehydration. So we use the sodium for the hydration. We use the apple cider vinegar in the morning so that we mobilize fat cells. Remember, to burn fat, you have to break down the fat cell that's trapped in a triglyceride. We'll get into this later. We have to break that down, release that into the system, and then we have to oxidize it, which means we then burn the fat. We have to get it mobilized into the system before we can burn it as energy. So because we're fasting and we want to have energy and we want to use fat for energy, we want something to help mobilize a lot of fat so it's sitting there ready to use as energy, and we use the apple cider vinegar to do this. Does that make sense? Again, don't worry if you're not catching it all, we'll pick it up as we go along. So what we need is that we need the whey protein, we need the apple cider vinegar with a squeeze of lemon, 3 grains of salt, and that hydration drink can be taken once, twice, or 3 times during the day, depending on how long you're fasting and how much you need it. All right. Now, for the people who have been doing this quite a while, some of them have moved to sort of hydration formulas. There's the tubs of hydration drink that you can get that are mixed up, everything's in it, even sometimes a bit of creatine, and they taste nice. That's just as good, although you still need the apple cider vinegar because we want to mobilize those fat cells. Again, some of the ladies have been using yohimbine and some of the other fasting challenges. Yohimbine again is a fat mobilizer. It mobilizes the fat so we can burn it, oxidize it for energy. Does that make sense? So that's what we need to start with. We're going to start on Sunday night at 8 o'clock. We're going to Monday. Remember, the new people, you're going to be doing a 6-hour eating window. The advanced people, you're going to be doing a 2-hour eating window. All right, we're going to be doing that on Monday. There's no calories to be consumed during your fasting period. That means no milk, right? And for the people who are new here, you'll find out I am going to be very blunt with you and very straight to the point. For the people who say, oh, but I need to have a cup of tea, I can't manage my day without a cup of tea, and your cup of tea needs a splash of milk, you're not 5 years of age, right? Grow up, put on your big gear pants, suck it up and get on with it, because we have a job to do here. We've only got 5 days to burn as much body fat as possible, so I don't care if you miss your wee cup of tea. You can have black coffee, black tea, green tea, or water. No, there's no juices, even if it says sugar free. No, there's no Diet Coke or Pepsi Max. No. Right? We've got 5 days to burn as much fat as possible, and the one thing I will tell you, I guarantee you this is going to be the best fat burning tool you'll ever use, as long as you do as you're told, right? Follow the instructions. If you follow the instructions, you will get phenomenal results from this. The people who've been doing it for a while will tell you that. Some of them have been doing it for a while, and once or twice they've sort of steered off it and done their own thing, and they just haven't got the same results. They will tell you that. Listen to the instructions, do as you're told, 5 days, burn as much fat as possible, and you will absolutely really love this. All right, remember, if you're getting headaches, if you're getting tired, if you're getting hunger pains, it's dehydration. Just get another wee bit of sodium. When you are eating your food, just eat good, healthy, natural food. Don't try and do anything silly. It's not about trying to reinvent the wheel. Just have good, natural food. Try and remove as much processed foods as possible. No processed foods, because they're just going to trigger more hunger. We want loads of protein, loads of vegetables, loads of fruit, all good, healthy, nourish your body, pile it up, and once we hit that 8 o'clock mark at night, we stop eating. All right, that's it. You're under your fasting window again. If you want to really maximize your weight loss, and I mean really maximize your weight loss, what I want you to do is to go for a walk every morning, 45 minutes to an hour every morning. Remember, the apple cider vinegar is mobilizing the fat cells. We want to then oxidize it and burn it. Doing aerobic activity like walking or cycling or something like that, that's a fat burning activity. You're mobilizing, you're burning. All right, again, with 5 days. If it's not something you normally do, just do it for 5 days. All we have to do is 5 days, once a month, to absolutely rip the crap out of your body fat and feel great. We take 3 weeks off, we'll repeat it again next month. That's all you have to do to lose weight forever, right? Never put it back on again. Look good, feel great. That's all we got to do. If you want to be doing even better, you should be doing some resistance training, because that's going to boost your metabolism. It's going to keep the muscle tissue and speed up the metabolism. For those people who aren't in a gym already, if you want to come in with me for the week or even the month, I'll give you the month for free. Right, I will coach you through this for free. Come to the gym 34 days a week for a half hour, and we will absolutely maximize these 5 days. Remember, the whole point of this is I want this to be the best fat burning tool you have ever used in your life, and it only takes 5 days. If you have any questions, let me know.